Lydia, you have...
Wishing you all a very pleasant morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're joining us from. We will begin today's session in a few minutes, just letting everybody come in and make sure you choose the interpretation. The instructions are on the screen. Hi everyone, a very warm welcome. My name is Meghna. I'm from India, your host for today's webinar. Explore, inspire, lead, girls as change makers in STEM. This is our first collaboration of such events with our strategic partner, Johnson & Johnson. Thank you, Johnson & Johnson, for making this possible. A hearty welcome to our partner representatives, members of WAGGGS World Board, distinguished speakers, and our audience from across the globe. We hope this 2-hour session will be engaging, enriching, and exciting. We have lined up a series of content for the webinar that you will see on your screen. Take a minute to see what we have planned for you. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, has been a driving force behind some of the most important advancements in the modern society, from medical breakthroughs through innovative technologies. In 2020, the global STEM market was valued at over $1.2 trillion and is expected to continue to grow in the coming years. However, STEM industries have low female representation, and it is time for us to be aware, proactive, and participate. Today, being the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, it is timely for us to discuss this topic. Don't you think so? So without further ado, let's get started. I would like to call upon our World Board member, Katerina Agorogianni from Greece, to give the opening remarks. Katerina's first International Girl Guides camp was at the age of 15, ignited the fire inside her to work towards creating a more equal world. Professionally, Katerina is leadership development consultant working for a multinational technology company. She is passionate about the agile methodologies, digital transformation, and creating spaces where everyone feels safe and inspired to create a radical change. So please give a big round of applause, clap from wherever you are for Katerina. Over to you, Katerina.
Katerina is having some issues joining. Can we have Christina first, please? Thank you.
Yes. While Katerina joins us, it is now time to hear from the strategic partner. Before Katerina, I'd like to request Christina Grilaska from Johnson & Johnson, Material Supplier Management Director, to share a few words. Over to you, Christina.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Here from Puerto Rico, I'm Christina Grilaska, Material Supplier Manager Director for Ethicon Endo franchise Johnson & Johnson, and I am thrilled to be here today on the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. J&J has been championing women and enabling them with tools, resources, and opportunities to succeed at work and at home since our founding more than 130 years ago. More than half of our original employees were women, 8 out of 14, and from our earliest days, women have served as leaders. But we know that there is still a lot more work to do. As Megana pointed out, girls around the world often lack access to early STEM education, which can then lead to fewer women pursuing degrees in STEM fields. Once these women are out in the workforce, they can be underrepresented in high-growth STEM careers. At J&J, our mission is to ignite the power of women inside and outside Johnson & Johnson. To improve human health and the health of society, we must build partnerships to open new doors, create inspiring moments to honor women in STEM fields, and be role models to mentor girls and women throughout the most fundamental stages of their lives and careers. We are thrilled to be here today with one of our partners, the World Association of Girls Guides and Girl Scouts. Our shared passion for science, technology, engineering, math, manufacturing, and design, or STEM2D, as we like to call it, makes this a great opportunity for us to amplify each other's voices and spotlight inspiring women who are leaders in their field. By sharing our stories, we strive to ignite the talent and passion of the next generation of inventors and creators. Because anything can be solved when committed people put their resources and results together. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Christina. We could definitely see the passion in your voice and the energy that you had for STEM. That was definitely inspiring. And on that note, I would now like to call upon Argi and Nikki to take over. They have something very interesting.
Sorry, Megana, can we have Katerina's address now to be read out by me?
Okay, so that's new. So we have reading the message from Katerina. Over to you.
Can we have Katerina's picture on screen, please? Roji, can you share Katerina's? Yep. The one before, previous slide. Hello, everyone, and welcome wherever you're joining us from around the world. Thank you for joining us today, the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. We are grateful to Johnson & Johnson for supporting this event, making it possible for us to live stream to you in all our 4 WAGGGS languages. We are also grateful to the Johnson & Johnson colleagues joining today's panel of speakers and to the women from the Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting movement who have also volunteered to participate in the discussion. You're all fantastic STEM role models, and we'd like to thank you for taking the time to share your experiences with us. Being girl-led and global is so important to us, which is why we're delighted that a diverse team from 10 countries have come together to contribute to the planning and delivery of today's webinar. We're grateful to these young women for taking the lead and recognizing the part they can play in driving forward our work on STEM. We'd like to thank them for making today's event happen. So, why are we here to talk about STEM? There's a well-documented global issue around girls and young women's access to STEM education and their pursuit of careers in these sectors. Unequal access to the educational opportunities, gender biases, and social norms in STEM careers. The impact of this is huge, with young women across the world finding themselves unable to benefit from the economic empowerment of employment in these growing sectors. But the good news is that here at WAGGGS, we know that we have an instrumental role to play in challenging this gender gap and encouraging girls to pursue STEM. Girls across the Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting movement want to see gender, social, and economic equality. By providing STEM programming and support, girls can not only learn but also advocate for equality in STEM. The Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting movement can actively drive the empowerment of girls and young women in STEM across the globe as they move into adulthood. Today, we'll be sharing some of the findings of our recent research into STEM, which have been analyzed by an amazing team of data volunteers. This has provided valuable insight into the challenges faced by girls and young women in pursuing STEM pathways, as well as showing how committed our global movement is to breaking these barriers. We can't wait to get started on delivering on the ambition of our global movement alongside all of you. We hope that you will find today's event an inspiration as we start this journey. Thank you once again for joining us. And I send apologies from Katerina as she's unable to connect at the moment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Grace, for being voice of Katerina. And those were definitely inspiring words and definitely sets the context for today's webinar. On that note, I will again like to call upon Argi and Nikki to take over for something very interesting they have for you. I'll see you back after Argi.
Thank you, Meghana. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Argi. How are you?
I'm fine. How is South Africa?
It's good. It's so hot today, so that's why I'm having a yummy ice cream at the ice cream cafe.
I'm also having a yummy ice cream and it's melted. Oh my God.
Oh no! What flavor is it? What flavor was it?
Oh, it still has flavor. It's caramel.
Caramel. I've got chocolate. Chocolate is my favorite.
Oh, awesome. I wonder how many people love chocolate or caramel ice cream.
Maybe we should ask the audience to vote.
Yeah.
Can we get the Mentimeter up on screen, please?
Awesome.
Wonderful. Okay, dear audience members, please can you go to www.menti.com and enter this room code. The room code is 56061676. It's on your screen right now, or you can scan the QR code. Agi, I wonder which flavor will win. I think it has to be chocolate.
No, I hope it's caramel because it's really, really sweet when it's melted. Are we ready?
I think we should give our audience members just a few minutes more. So you can join from your computer, your tablet, or your cell phone. Just go to Menti which is www.menti.com, and enter the room code that you see on the screen. It's 56061676, or you can scan the QR code if you know how to do that. So Agi, you're a girl guide in Kenya.
Yes, I am a girl guide in Kenya. And have I mentioned that it's really hot outside? That's why my ice cream has not even survived this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what other people say about the ice cream flavors. And you, Nikki, are you a girl guide?
I am a girl guide, yes. You see, I'm in my girl guide uniform. I'm from Girl Guides South Africa. And the cool thing about this webinar is that we have Girl Guides and Girl Scouts from all over the world joining us today. So this is an international event. How exciting to be part of it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Super excited.
Okay, I think we can start viewing the results.
Cam?
If you have not yet voted on Menti, please check the chat for a link to vote.
Oh, so what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Is it vanilla? Is it chocolate? Is it strawberry? Ooh, okay. Chocolate. Chocolate is winning.
Chocolate is winning. I knew it.
Oh. Come
That's
on, caramel.
Caramel, vanilla, Rocky Road. Oreo. Oh, Oreo is a popular one. Hey.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that we all have different tastes, but here we are all together to celebrate STEM.
Exactly.
So speaking of STEM, this is the STEM webinar. And I hear that STEM is all around us. Is that right, Agi?
Yes, Nikki, actually, STEM is all around us. You see the lights, the computers we're using, the phones we're using right now, our cars, the cars on the street, even the house that we're in. It is STEM. So STEM is everywhere.
Okay. Well, that's really, really cool. I'm quite interested to hear the content of today's webinar. But right now, I'm just so interested in only my ice cream.
Actually, Nikki, do you know that ice cream is a STEM-flavored food product?
Oh, STEM flavored? What does that mean?
Well, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yeah. So there is science in the making of ice cream. So by combining all the ingredients like cream, sugar, flavor, and also air, that's how science plays in making of ice cream.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. Okay, so it's STEM, right? And that's the STEM flavor. So what's the T for technology?
So during ice cream making, we have to preserve, or we have to ensure that the temperatures are really, really low to make sure we get good ice crystals or small ice crystals that you cannot see. So in this, the technology used, here we have computers that monitor these low freezing temperatures.
Okay, interesting, cool. I never thought about it like that. Okay, and the E for engineering?
So E for engineering. So the equipment that we use in ice cream processing, things like refrigerators, the mixers, and all that. All these equipment actually I use to create the perfect mixture and also to get the perfect ice crystals for your ice cream.
Okay, that is really cool. I've never thought about it this way. It's just ice cream to me before. Let me try with the M. Okay, so M is for mathematics in STEM. Let me see. Oh, well, once there was a sphere at the top of my ice cream, which was my ice cream ball, and the shape is a cone. And this is quite a solid structure. So I'm guessing the shape is very important because it maintains the integrity of this ice cream, right? Could that be the M?
Yes, that's right. Right thinking, Nikki. M is in, the mathematics is in the cone, the structure, the structural strength of that cone to hold your ice cream. Yeah.
That's cool. But how do you know all the stuff about ice cream making? It's so random.
So, well, Nikki, I am a food scientist by profession, and I deal with food processing, food quality assurance, and also food microbiology.
Wow, that is so awesome. So I'm a software engineer by profession. And
Amazing.
I guess, yeah, but thinking about it, I guess software engineering could fit into all the different parts of STEM, the science split, technology, engineering, and the mathematics split.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite exciting. Really, really exciting. I mean, we could work in any field from banking to trading to ice cream production. So that's
Exactly.
really awesome.
Exactly, Nikki. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think let us enjoy this STEM webinar and let us finish up our ice creams. See you later, everybody.
Bye. Over to you, Meghana.
Oh, wow. From now, I'll probably start thinking what goes into my ice cream. Never thought it this way, that STEM is all around us. That's very interesting. And I'm sure each one of you will also think about STEM and how important it is for our everyday life. Thank you, Nikki and Argi, for that interesting icebreaker and the ice cream breaker. So now we have a video from Shavina, a 15-year-old girl guide from Malaysia, sharing her views about the STEM consultation carried out by WAGGGS last year, that is World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. So let's hear from Shavina. Video, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Shavina from Malaysia. I'll be sharing some of my key learnings and thoughts from the recent WAGGGS STEM consultation, as well as my views on involvement of girls and women in STEM. The WAGGGS STEM consultation focused on introducing STEM to the younger population. It taught us what STEM is and the importance of STEM to ensure a better future. The event also gave girls the opportunity to express their opinions freely regarding the barriers that prevent the participation of young women in STEM and ways to overcome them. This also made me realize how dire the situation of lack of women and girls' involvement in STEM is. There are many challenges that are faced by girls and women in STEM education and career. I believe that gender biasness is one of the biggest factors of this issue and should be resolved to ensure the bright future of girls and young women. Girls and women have just as much rights and capabilities to pursue in the field of STEM as men and boys. Instead of gender-based, it should be our talents, abilities, and intellectual capabilities that determine our involvement in STEM. Another factor that affects girls and women's involvement in STEM is the lack of interest amongst them in STEM. STEM has always been considered a tough field and thus is not a popular career choice among females. A strong basic education and continuous encouragement by parents, teachers, and friends may be able to build confidence and stimulate interest in STEM among the girls. To overcome all these challenges, I'd like to share what Girl Guides or Girl Scouts can do as changemakers to increase the participation of girls and women in STEM, education, and careers. As a global organization, this movement can inspire and encourage girls and young women to participate in STEM. This movement can organize more campaigns or camps that focus on motivating girls to participate and involve themselves in STEM. They could do STEM-related badges during these activities to spark interest in young girls and influence them to pursue a career in STEM. Additionally, this movement can also collaborate with STEM education institutions to create more opportunities for girls to pursue in this field. Girl Guides or Girl Scouts organizations can provide free education on STEM through e-learning or physical classes too, especially for the less fortunate. In summary, STEM is an essential part of our life. Girls and young women must be provided with sufficient support and opportunities to participate in STEM. A strong global involvement, especially from associations such as WAGGGS, can ensure fair and equal participations in STEM. Thank you.
Thank you, Shavina, for inspiring words and views on STEM. Following Shavina's sharing about STEM consultation by WAGGGS, we would now like to invite Fehizaro and RG to share key findings of the consultation. What was this consultation about? Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Meghana. I am Agi from Kenya.
Hi everyone, happy International Day of Women and Girls in STEM. My name is Fehizur and I'm from Madagascar. So today we are pleased to be sharing some brand new insights from WAGGGS Global Consultation on STEM, which was conducted between May and September 2022. In recent years, member organizations and component associations have told WAGGGS that they would like support to help girls and young women understand and advocate for opportunities in STEM education and careers. So, in 2022, WAGGGS carried out a consultation to understand how both leaders and youth members of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts view STEM. The consultation had two parts: a survey with member organizations and company associations, and a consultation with girls. The survey on STEM with member organizations and component organizations received 115 responses from 109 countries. This response rate over 15% of WAGGGS 152 member organizations demonstrates the movement's global interest in contributing to the conversation around STEM. Thank you to all member organizations and component associations who gave valuable feedback through the survey. For brevity, throughout the rest of our presentation, we will use the term member organization to refer to both member organizations and component associations. The STEM consultation with girls and young women engaged 8,576 young participants ranging from 10 to 50 years old from 56 countries. WAGGGS provided a consultation pack consisting of several focus group activities which explored what STEM is, how it makes girls and young women feel, gender inequality in STEM jobs, and how girls and young women would like to break down the barriers which prevent them from pursuing STEM education and careers. Thanks to all the member organizations and Girl Guide and Girl Scout leaders who supported the delivery of the consultation activities, providing us with a huge amount of valuable feedback to help us plan what we offer for girl guiding and girl scouting movement around STEM in the future.
Part of the member organization survey on STEM studied educational systems. The survey showed that 86% of girls and young women decided in their teens if they want to continue their studies in STEM-related subjects, and any intervention to encourage girls and young women to pursue these subjects should start before these academic choices, which influence career choices later in their lives when it needs to be made. The survey showed that girls and young women in all the countries that responded do have opportunities for pursuing STEM education and careers. However, there is a difference in the proportion of male and female choosing to continue their study in these STEM subjects. Although only 32% of the countries answered that girls and young women did not have equal opportunities to pursue STEM careers, around 60% of the respondents indicated they are more male than female opting for STEM specialization or major, both at secondary or high school level and at university or tertiary level education in their countries. This means that barriers such as culture-related biases, limited stereotypes, and a lack of confidence are preventing girls from pursuing STEM education and subsequently denying young women the opportunity to pursue STEM careers in their adult lives. Girls and young women participating in the consultation were asked about the issues girls and women face in pursuing STEM education and careers. Responses overwhelmingly show that girls and young women are aware of the barriers existing in their countries related to society, customs and tradition, religion, culture, and biases. These play a huge role in influencing girls' engagement in STEM. The absence of STEM mentors and the lack of female role models in STEM are also important contributing factors. Most girls recognize gender stereotypes around STEM, but many believe that these stereotypes were true, leading them to think that they cannot achieve what they want in the STEM field and not being able to see themselves successfully pursuing careers in STEM. They often viewed men as more intelligent, capable, and as the breadwinners. Both the member organization survey and the responses from girls and young women brought to attention the fact that there is a stereotype perpetuated by parents, teachers, and others in their lives that STEM is not meant for men, and not that STEM is meant for men rather, and not for girls and young women. Cultural barriers and stereotypes perpetuate the belief that girls and young women are better with people or more suited to cleaning and carrying roles. As part of the consultation with girls and young women, participants were asked to list jobs that they consider to be related to STEM or needing STEM knowledge and skills. The 8,500 participants listed a total of 178 jobs. Answers showed that most participants were aware that STEM can be applied in a multitude of fields and careers. The jobs mentioned mostly frequently were commonly understood as STEM jobs were engineers, chemists, and scientists. This suggests that there is an opportunity to raise awareness for a wider range of careers related to STEM amongst girls and young women to better prepare them for the future. The consultation results also showed that girls and young women believe that 48% of STEM jobs discussed were more populated by men than women. Perhaps unexpectedly, there were also a fair number of STEM jobs, 37%, which girls and young women believed were equally pursued by both men and women. Nonetheless, many STEM jobs are still considered to be male-dominated, deterring many girls and young women from pursuing STEM pathways. Four out of 5 WAGGGS regions believe that there are barriers facing girls in accessing STEM education. These fall into 5 broad categories. 1, a lack of support or encouragement, gender bias, a lack of confidence, culture pressures, and a lack of economic resources. A lack of encouragement from adults was once again cited as the most important factor, followed by the belief that STEM careers are difficult and a lack of confidence. Girls and young women responses overwhelmingly showed that they were aware of the barriers they face. Society, customs, and traditions, including religion, play a part in dictating what girls can and cannot do, including whether they pursue studies and careers in the STEM field. Nearly 12% of respondents indicated that their communities or families feel like STEM is not a topic for girls to explore.
Only 7% of member organizations indicated that their volunteers will be totally comfortable delivering a STEM offer to girls and young women. Some are worried because they feel they must have a greater knowledge. They also feel that they will struggle to find an educated or professional female to with girls and young women. and that they would need to ask more STEM professionals to help them. It will be important to provide capacity building and resources to support your guide and Girl Scout leader program with girls. The barriers that hinder adult volunteers in delivering a related to what girls and young women are experiencing, namely, they did not have a good experience studying STEM subjects in the past and suffer from a lack of knowledge and skills. The Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting movement needs to support adult volunteers to overcome these barriers in the movement is to offer STEM programs and activities to girls and young women. The top 3 issues identified by member organizations in relation to capacity building for adult volunteers were a lack of knowledge. They do not have a good understanding of STEM or how to present it to girls and young women, a lack of reference materials, and a lack of resources or financial support, which limits what they can deliver. Nearly 62% of member organizations reported that whilst they do not have a dedicated STEM program, they can identify STEM elements in their existing programs or batch. Nearly 24% of member organizations and offer no STEM programming at all. Just over 14% of member organizations offer a dedicated STEM program.
Where STEM programs are offered, girls and young women really enjoy and want more of them. They gave positive feedback and discovered a love for science, technology, and engineering in particular. There remains a need to present mathematics as part of a wider problem-solving context to generate interest in this subject area too. The most popular science and technology activities were those that allowed the girls to see new technologies or participate in less traditional science experiments. Those involved with music, slime, or mist were particularly enjoyed. Fun activities such as this can achieve a change in perspective of STEM. One region informed us that even after an activity concluded, about 80% of their girls continued to try out changes to the experiments and observe results. Crucially, girls and young women really enjoyed this hands-on experience and became passionate about science. They grew in confidence and engaged in activities they had not thought they could do before. When Girl Guides and Girl Scout leaders learn alongside girls and gain new knowledge themselves, they get excited about science activities and feel that girls and young women are actively engaged in STEM topics. This motivates them to complete more advanced STEM activities with girls and young women they work with. Programs must be exciting, enjoyable, and hands-on, with interesting experiments to engage girls and young women and leaders alike. Member organizations identified 4 main areas that can help support girls and young women to develop an interest in STEM education and careers. All regions put forward variations of the following themes. Firstly, motivation. Through Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting, girls and young women can be encouraged to develop an interest in STEM education and careers. Girl Guide and Girl Scout leaders have a role to play in providing empowerment and leadership tools that enable each girl and young woman to explore whether STEM subjects may be of interest to them. Secondly, interacting with STEM. STEM in Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting can provide a framework for personal development of girls and young women so that they can have greater confidence in themselves. Girl guiding and girl scouting can introduce girls and young women to STEM through various interactions and lived experiences such as mentoring. There may also be a role for girl guiding and girl scouting to provide girls and young women with skills that make them more employable and ready to meet the current labor demands. Thirdly, the implementation of programs to encourage girls and young women and bring them closer to STEM through activities that make it more interesting to learn STEM in non-formal settings, including through program design, training, partnership, and engaging women role models. Finally, WAGGGS Africa and Western Hemisphere region both suggested that girl guiding and girl scouting would provide spaces for female STEM mentors to share their experiences with the girls and young women, helping them become more aware that these careers are not solely reserved for men, boosting their confidence and bringing them closer to STEM.
Member organizations indicated a strong preference for delivering STEM program developed by WAGGGS or for integrating more STEM content into existing programs. The survey showed that the three most valuable things that the girl guiding and girl scouting movement could influence through a STEM offer were demonstrating that STEM subjects can and should be studied by girls, securing equal opportunities to pursue STEM careers, and securing equal access to STEM education. To deliver and develop a STEM offer, the girl guiding and girl scouting movement needs to provide support for leaders. STEM is a broad topic, and Girl Guide and Girl Scout leaders delivering STEM programming will benefit from support to deliver STEM activities with an approach suitable to Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting settings in order to stimulate interest in STEM for girls and young women. Capacity building for adult volunteers is key to ensuring that leaders have the skills required to deliver STEM content, even if they do not have a STEM background. Not all WAGGGS regions have the infrastructure required to develop and deliver STEM programs. Activities should be created with this context in mind, and infrastructure such as classroom settings, resources, and digital networks could be put in place where funding allows. Over 37% of member organizations reported that they would require funding from WAGGGS global partnerships or donor in order to successfully implement a program, and we are very grateful to already have the support of Johnson & Johnson, our corporate partner, for the webinar today. Member organizations identified several benefits of introducing and integrating STEM into their girl guiding and girl scouting programs. Even girls and young women who do not want to pursue STEM careers might find STEM knowledge, skills, and mindsets useful in their daily lives when they become adults. Secondly, a STEM offer could play an integral role in girls and young women's development by creating new opportunities, maintaining engagement, and developing open-minded approaches. And finally, offering STEM programming could play a vital role in defense of Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting as a global movement, helping us to retain our current member and attract new partners and supporting our continued growth and impact.
Girl guiding and girl scouting non-formal education setting is a great context for encouraging girls and young women to pursue STEM education and careers. Girl guiding and girl scouting can provide the opportunity for girls and young women to develop an interest in STEM in a safe setting free of stereotypes. The Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting movement is an incredibly important space for girls and young women to develop their potential. Through advocacy, Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting can empower girls and young women to explore STEM and support them to challenge the gendered perceptions and stereotypes which make it difficult for them to pursue STEM education and careers. Many member organizations have noted that outreach activities, support programs, and causes are all needed to support young women and girls in STEM. The consultation has been a huge learning experience for our team at WAGGGS, and we take this opportunity to give a vote of thanks to our committed data analysis team consisting of volunteers from 6 countries. We will be sharing the narrative of the report of the consultation after the second webinar on 12th March. Registrations are still open, so if you'd like to attend again or invite a friend to attend, please ask them to sign up as soon as possible. Thank you, and back to you, Meghana.
Thank you so much, Argi and Fahizoro. Thank you. I mean, that was definitely mind-boggling results, and it definitely calls for action on what we have to do, participate in STEM. So on that note...
Sorry, Meghana, before we proceed, can we, Roji, can you show the PowerPoint again? The last slide, the slide with the data team volunteers. Yes. This is to say a very, very huge appreciation to this team for helping us in analyzing very, very complicated data from around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grace. Definitely a big round of applause would go to all of them for such immense work. And thank you. So now I would like to call upon Rosie and Saro from Nepal, who will be demonstrating the Up with Gas experiment, one of the many exciting activities from Johnson & Johnson's VSTEM 2D resources. You may find details about this activity and other resources in the link pasted in the chat. So do note that you are a youth member, and if you would like to try these activities at home, please consult your elders before you do that. For now, over to you, Rosie and Saro.
Sorry, Dee, what are you doing? I'm trying to blow the balloon, but it's so hard and I'm not able to blow the balloon. Are you struggling with it? Yeah, I am. Come, I'll show you the easy method that which I have learned in the school, and it is so easy. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Come, I'll show you. Let's see. Okay, to inflate the balloon, you need these ingredients first. But what we are going to with these all the materials? We are inflating the balloon. Oh, I see. Okay. First, you need a plastic bottle and you need a 250 ml of the vinegar. Okay. Since we have a very small balloon today, so we are using the very small portions of the vinegar. Okay. So we have to pour it into the plastic bottle. And you have to be sure that the opening of the plastic bottle should be 28 mm or it should be the smaller. But why 28 mm and the small opening only? Because the balloon should be fit in the bottle. So if it is the smaller, so it will be easy to fit the balloon in the opening of the bottle. So that is why. Okay, I get it now. And after that, we have to put this baking soda into this balloon. So for that, you need to use the funnel. So since we didn't have the funnel, let's use the paper funnel. Okay, I will help you. Okay. Let us pour the 2 tablespoons of the baking soda over here. Okay. Now, you have to detach it. Okay. And this is the balloon full of the baking soda. Okay. Now, you have to attach this balloon into the mouth of the bottle. And you have to make sure that it is covered completely and there is no opening left over there. And while you are putting this balloon into the cover, make sure it is not spilled and it do not tip. Okay, but why? Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, You can see, wow, the balloon is inflated. It's not so hard as well. Yes, see, now it's inflated. Okay, I see. But what is the reason behind this, as it's so easily inflated? It is because of the chemical reactions between the vinegar and the baking soda. The atoms and the molecules which is made up of this substance is changed now. That is why it is inflated. Okay, I get it now. Chemical reactions can be seen in every day in our daily life, like rusting of the iron, baking the cake, and so on. Okay, I get it now. That's great. See, now you can also use your science knowledge. Yeah, obviously, it's not so difficult as I have thought. Yeah, it is not. And I hope like everyone like our demo sessions today and everyone enjoyed. And see, the STEAM is not so hard like you used to think. So it is so easy and you can also try. Yeah, thank you so much. It's not so complicated as I have thought. Thank you so much, Rosie, for helping me out to inflate the balloon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye. Okay, and this is Rosie Tamang from Nepal Scout. And I'm Saru Goswami from Nepal Scouts. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, that was so interesting, right? I did not know a balloon can be inflated with baking soda and vinegar. Make sure you try this with adult supervision, of course, but definitely try it at home. Thank you for that very interesting experiment. Now we would like to share a video from Tiviana, a 16-year-old girl guide from Madagascar. Please note that the video is in Malagasy language.
Kiavina nilaza mpikambana mpanazava mandray anjara tamin'ny consultation STEM. Terminal SAAO zao nisafidy ny scientifique satria faniriko rahatrizay ny lasa chimiste agricole ary anangana orinasa eo amin'izay sehatrizay ho fanatsarana ny fambolena sy ny tontolo iainana. Amin'ny mampanazava dia izay ny fandraisako anjara amin'ny fanamaitsoana indray à Madagascar sy fampandrosoana azy maharitra. S for science, T for technology, E for technology, E for energy, R for mathematics. Girls Guide in STEM, dan wens ik aan de taart.
That was a short, interesting video, right? STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. It's time for us to be more proactive. And as girls, we shouldn't shy away from choosing STEM. It is not difficult, it is simple, and it is very interesting. On that note, the wait is over. It is time to hear from our distinguished panelists for today. Handing over to Nikki to lead our panel discussion. Just reminding all of you, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them through the Q&A function in the controls at the bottom. Over to you, Nikki, for the interesting panel you have for us.
Thank you, Meghna. Okay, so hi once again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our audience joining us from all over the world. I am Nikki Naidu from South Africa. I'm a software engineer by profession and a girl guide by passion. Today, I have the amazing honor of facilitating this panel discussion. So in our panel today, we have, first up, Zara Randriamanakoto from Madagascar. Can we get the slide up on Zara?
Yes, hi everyone.
Can we please get the next slide? Okay, thanks. So Zara is a tenured staff astronomer at the South African Astronomical Observatory, and she's the co-founder of Ikala STEM. Next, we have Subista Dhwoju, who's joining us from Nepal. Subista is a first officer, which may be better known as a co-pilot. Our third panelist is Chermaine from Singapore. Chermaine is a surgical vision technology product analyst at Johnson & Johnson. Quite a mouthful. And our final participant is Kashmira, from the United States of America. Kashmira is the Global Medical and Scientific Affairs Lead in Vaccines at Johnson & Johnson. Welcome, ladies. How are you all today?
Well, fine. Thank you, Nikki.
Fine, thank
Hi,
you.
everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so let's get right into it. Can you please all introduce yourself in, let's say, 1 minute and tell us what you do in your day-to-day job in your profession? So let's start with Zara.
Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Zara Randriamanakoto. I am a Tenured-Staff astronomer, so I work in astronomy. And first of all, I would like to clarify, I am not an astronaut, I'm an astronomer. So astronauts, they are the one who work in space, for instance, repairing telescope or satellite. But astronomers, in a daily basis, we are using those data that astronauts collect so that we can interpret the image by using computers. So we do a lot of programming, but we also do literature review to better understand what is happening. And we read articles and present our talk during conferences. And on top of that, we also have regular meetings, both to my students, but also colleagues. I think that's a very short description of what do I do in my daily job. Thank you.
That sounds very interesting, Zara. I look forward to hearing more. Subista, you're up next. Tell us what you do in your job.
Hi everyone, I'm Subista from Nepal. I'm a pilot by profession and a girl guide, young leader. So what I do usually is they give us, usually our company, they give us rooster for we have schedules, not every day because we need to take breaks. We can only fly for 8 hours in one day. We cannot exceed 8 hours because our body will get fatigued and then we cannot comply with the regulations. So we can only fly 8 hours a day. That's why they make schedules for us. So I usually go to the airport 2 hours earlier than the actual flight. Then I have to go inspect the entire airplane that I'm going to fly. I have to look after the landing gears are okay, if the systems are correct, if there is any leakage or not, if there is some before me, the mechanics and the engineers, they do the round for it. But again, then I go and do it all over again so that we can make sure there is no technical errors there. And if there are errors, they're going to fix it before we fly. Then I fly. So there's this thing called autopilot. I think all of us know. And we think that when we put autopilot, the plane just flies by itself. That's not how it works. It just helps the pilot. And after the flight, we have to get down and do the overall check of the airplane again, get the passenger to the airport safely. We communicate with the ATC, the tower, about the weathers, about the conditions of the destination airports and everything before we land. And then after the work, I get back home. That's about what I do in a day.
That's very cool. Okay, Chermaine, you're up next.
Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, so as a technology product analyst, my main responsibility is actually to bridge the gap between the technical and the business side of software product development to drive productivity. So I work very closely with the commercial excellence team to understand their requirements, to receive the technical specifications, and then translate them into user stories for the development team. So I will attend the daily stand-up calls with the developers to understand the progress and also to identify any roadblocks to ensure that we are on track. And when there is actually a new product release, I will be involved in performing the user acceptance testing to ensure that it meets the acceptance criteria that was set by the business team. And also we will do a quarterly product review where we will evaluate the matrix and KPI we have set to ensure that we are driving the business value. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, now you're actually speaking my language. I understood a lot of what you were saying. And finally, Kashmira.
Yes, thank you very much.
So I am a doctor by profession, and I have done my master's in public health. So, I don't regularly see patients, but I look at the overall population health, public health. And I've also done a fellowship called as the Epidemic Intelligence Service, which is actually sort of what we call as disease detectives. So now at Johnson & Johnson, I work as the medical and scientific affairs lead for our vaccines in our global public health organization. So basically that means looking at the science and the data behind our vaccines and working with our teams here to collect all of that information in a way that we can explain the science behind the vaccine to the people who are going to be either recommending or using the vaccine. So as you can imagine, there is a lot of science, technology, engineering, math that's involved for what we call as lab to last mile. And so, I just make sure that we work on all of this information, bring it all together, so then our vaccines can be used in a safe, effective, and impactful manner for everybody who needs them globally.
That's wonderful. Kashmira, while we have you up here, can you tell us what motivated you to get into a STEM career?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was very early interest in the science side of things. So I knew very early on that, as I think everyone can relate, that things that pique your interest, things that feel like, oh, this is something I'd like to do more of, that I'd like to learn more of. And so so that was that early interest that really motivated me. But I think what really also helped me was finding those early role models. And when I say role models, I don't just mean people who we see on TV or who we read about in newspapers, but people who I saw in my everyday life, my doctor, my pharmacist, the people within my area that I felt like, okay, you know what, this is what I would like to do. And so I kept going in that realm. And so the science field always made me very, very interested in what I wanted to do when I grew up. And then the other thing that always motivated me was, and I think we'll talk more about it going forward, is, these things, and especially this. So I grew up in India. And when people told me, oh, I don't think girls can do this, I always felt more determined to actually do it. So, I think that early interest, finding the role models, the motivation, and then I also used some of the opportunities that kind of came along to say, oh, this is an interesting opportunity. So trying to be a little bit thinking outside the box and to see how some of those things that I'm seeing in my everyday life are really encouraging me and motivating me to follow that career in the STEM area. So.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you didn't let those challenges get you down. So you're from Johnson & Johnson, and so is Chermaine. So Chermaine, maybe let's hear from you as well. Have you had the same experience, or what has motivated you to get into your STEM career?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the main motivations to actually pursue a career in STEM is because problem solving is at the core of many of these STEM professions. So math was always my favorite subject in school, as I always get a sense of satisfaction when I found the answer to the question. So when I was younger, I knew I wanted to have a job that would be aligned to my interests, but I was uncertain if STEM was really something that I would like to do. I think similar to many people, we do have some misconceptions about STEM-related jobs. So for instance, I used to have concerns such as like, oh, is the job going to be very boring and mundane? And like, if it's a tech role, does that actually mean that I would just be sitting at my desk and like coding nonstop? So I think in the past, I have really overlooked the value that STEM can actually bring for us. So it was only in university that I became very certain that I really wanted to be in STEM, in particular in technology. So I majored in data science and analytics in university, and through the various sharings as well as the internships, I came to realize how gratifying and also exciting it can be due to the numerous opportunities across the various functions as well as in the different industries. I think the role of technology has really shifted greatly, and now it is actually a very fundamental and inseparable part of doing business. And with this huge possibility, this also means that there will be a lot of opportunities for us to develop a career that will be aligned to your personal goals and values. And also additionally, I think with the advancement in technology and also in this fast-changing environment, it really challenges us to think about how we can actually use our knowledge and leverage on these advancements to drive innovation, to bring value to business, and most importantly, how can we actually make a positive impact on our society? I think in J&J, we are really using technology to reshape how our business operate and also making an impact in the patient's outcome as well. I think the sense of satisfaction and fulfillment in my job really comes from my ability to engage in hands-on tasks to actually develop these business solutions. I think these insights and digital solutions are actually instrumental to make a difference to the different stakeholders. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I think you're very right in saying that a lot of people think that STEM will be quite boring, but it's not. It can be very fulfilling, as Kashmira and you both said. And Chermaine, you started touching on the importance of STEM. So Zara, maybe you can tell us, in your opinion, why is STEM important and what are the essential skills that can be developed through STEM?
Okay, thanks, Nikki. So I think when I hear that question, why is STEM important? Maybe the other way to look at it is, what would be life like if there is no science? And we've already seen all the sharing session that has happened, the report, the consultation report, that definitely life will not be easy. So this is why it's really important to invest in STEM, even if it may be a long-term result that we gain from it. And I would just going to use an example in my field, astronomy. So sometimes people say, why are we looking at the stars? Why bother to look at the stars when we need to feed the poor and the needy? Well, there is a response to that. If we are not to invest in long-term goal like that, then we will not be able to develop and really engage with our community. So one example is our smartphone. We wouldn't have this if there was no astronomy, because the more we want to go deep in our universe, the more we then innovate and use cameras that are having high resolution. And then later on, we not transfer it to our community. And maybe a second example, we all love sleep. We know how to, we really need it too. So if we are not sleeping well, then we are not going to process things better. So we really need sleep in our daily life. But know what? Because of astronomy, it now gives us the memory foam, the diapers for the baby, that materials that we use. Because when we send astronauts in space, we don't want them to pee on themselves as they travel in the International Space Station. So we then developed those materials. And there are many other things like Wi-Fi, GPS. Those are all things that have been developed through astronomy. So it is really then vital for us to engage in STEM and to really innovate through STEM. So what type of skills can you then get as you are doing STEM? It's really transferable. You can transfer it easily in industry, but also in our community, because as you really immerse in STEM, you start to get this sense of responsibility. You have a lot of programming skills. So it's really both soft and hard skills. In terms of soft skills, you become independent because you really need to do your own research, but also you have this creativity and oral communication, because you need to communicate your result to your peers and to the community. So there are so many skills that you get as you are going through a STEM career. Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks for that. I love the way you think. I love the way how you started off with a different perspective that helps us all imagine what life would be without STEM. And that's terrifying to think about, actually. I mean, just this webinar would not have been possible. All of us on this webinar from around the world, we would not have been able to come together if it wasn't for science, technology, engineering, and maths. Thank you for that answer. It was really good. So on to my next question. So I was thinking, and as a software engineer, I've experienced that usually, quite often, I have been the only woman in the room. And it happens that in STEM, a lot of the STEM professions are male dominated. So let's hear from Subista. What advice would you give to our audience to overcome any inequalities they face in a situation like that, that's male dominated?
So just like you mentioned, you have been the only women in the room. Same for me. When I went to flying school, I was the only girl in the entire classroom. Everyone was a male. Even all the instructors were male. There was not a single female flight instructor in that school. So I do understand what you're trying to say. Well, in such situation, for me, as aviation is considered a very male-dominated industry, all the pilots are male. Even in advertisement, I think you'll never see female pilots. You'll always see male pilots. You'll only see female flight attendants. And even when I mention to people that I'm in aviation industry, they automatically assume that I'm a flight attendant rather than, and then I'll have to clarify to them that I'm not a flight attendant, I'm a pilot. So there are such stereotypes where people just have trained their brain to think that some of the professions are unworthy of women, that women are not capable of doing such. And it's been stuck in their brain that maybe, even in hospitals, when you say you work in a hospital, they would automatically assume if you're a female, they will say, are you a nurse, instead of asking if you're a doctor. So there is such stereotypes going on. So my advice to the young girls who are pursuing career in male-dominated STEM professions would be that you should not let yourself down, even when there are the situations where you could feel very overwhelmed by the presence of male. Because even when I was in school, I would be overwhelmed sometimes that they might be doing better than me, but then if I work hard enough, I might be better than them. So there are some points where you start doubting yourself, like, am I doing this right? Am I even choosing the correct profession? Because there was times when I chose, because all of my friends started flying by themselves, but then I was left because it was very hard for me. But then you should not give up. I think that's the mantra that you should always chant to yourself, that you should not give up at any condition, because you are doing this for yourself and not for anyone else. So you should think about why you chose this career and why you want to succeed in this career. So if you keep that in your mind, even if it's male dominated or anything else, it will be a strong empowerment, a strong encouragement to yourself. Like you should give pat on your back if you fall down. You should just pick yourself up whenever you feel like this is not for me. No, it's for you. That's why you chose it, because you are capable to do it. So you should always have that concept, that note in your mind, so that even in overwhelming situation, you can overcome it. So I have to say that to anyone who is trying to join.
We are so proud of you. We are so proud of you for just persevering. And you said that if you say you're in the medical industry, people might think that you're a nurse, and actually you might be a doctor. And we have a doctor in this room. So Kashmira, can we hear your perspective on this? What advice would you give to our audience to overcome any inequalities or any kind of bias they might face?
I think Subista has started off on such a wonderful note. I mean, I just want to say, absolutely agree with everything that she said. And, I mean, we've all faced that, right? Like when somebody, like we've had all these instances where somebody says, Dr. Date, the immediate sort of image that comes to your mind is a male, right? Like when you say a doctor, it's hard to say, oh, but okay, there is always that sort of hesitation. So no, I agree. I think that there is a lot that we can do. The first thing that I'm going to emphasize on what Subista said is, don't let things discourage you. Find your why. So if you know why you got into it, just make sure that, that is your passion. You know your why very clearly. So there is a very, very inspiring talk that I've heard. There is this phenomenal woman leader in a city that I live in called Stacey Abrams. There is a phenomenal TED talk that she's given in terms of, finding your why, finding your tribe. As they say that you are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So choose your friends and your circle wisely. I would say that once you found that why, it's very easy for people to ignore one voice. But when you find those allies, you find those people who encourage you, support you, have a very similar mindset and also have, similar goals and objectives like you, it's much easier to feel more inspired and to continue in that realm. I would say that, and it's not really about only girls. I think we need to make sure that we use every opportunity to talk to boys and men within your circle. So, start at home, your brother, your father, your uncles, so speak, make sure that you have the tools to convince them, to talk to them. So they see that women, that sort of equality and equity and you kind of get that support where you are. So it's not like you're constantly fighting the system. So I think that I found is one of those key strategies that can really help you, overcome the inequalities. And again, the role models, as they say, right, you can't be what you can't see. So find those role models that you can relate with, that you can find that inspiration in within your setting. And finally, I think again that point to what Subista was saying, don't let setbacks set you back. That's exactly what Stacey said, and it inspires me every day to make sure that once I found my why, you find the right circle around you, you find the right inspiration around you, and then don't be demotivated.
Yeah, that's so good. And I completely agree with what you're saying about having a good support system. In my case as well, I feel like I can do anything I want to do if I put my mind to it, because my family has never limited me. They've never said, maybe you should try something else. They always say, yes, do it. What are you doing next? So my family is my biggest supporter, and that is so helpful for me. And I'm so grateful for that. But I mean, we don't always have that kind of support. Now, speaking about the male-dominated industry, right? I just want to say it and be clear about this, that yes, it might be a male-dominated industry for now. It is definitely changing, but it definitely doesn't mean that only men are good at STEM professions. That is a myth. That's completely not true. Okay? While they may be good at it, so can anyone else that puts their mind to it. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, what your background is. If you are focused enough, you can do whatever you want to do. So on to the next question. Let's talk about more myths and misconceptions that we may have heard about STEM. Chermaine, can you share some with us that you may have encountered?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nikki. I think there are many common myths and misconceptions about STEM that we hear very often, and I think I myself, I'm guilty of having some of them in the past, like I mentioned earlier. So for example, I think it is very common to hear people make remarks such as STEM professions are boring and uncreative, or things like only men do well in STEM programs, which is
En general está dominado por los hombres y como Nikki dijo,
muchas veces es el caso, y que tenemos que ser muy buenas en este campo para poder tener éxito. Pero algunas, esto no es cierto. Creo que hay que tener un interés en la ciencia y es importante tener, como profesional en STEM, requiere una creatividad y pensamiento crítico y competencias para llegar a solución de problemas, para resolver problemas complejos a los que nos enfrentamos. Y también tenemos que pensar de forma innovadora para aplicar innovación. Otras competencias como buena comunicación y poder colaborar en equipo y con otros y la capacidad de adaptación son muy importantes también. En mi opinión, creo que estas faltas de entendimiento son justamente por prejuicios y también se puede deber a la desinformación. Creo que hay varias maneras en las que podemos hacer frente a esto. Lo primero, creo que es vital establecer una diferencia entre estimular el interés en la educación desde jóvenes. Creo que los padres desempeñan un rol importante en la educación en la mayoría de las veces, ya que son los que tienen mayor influencia en los niños. Y creo que deben brindarles la oportunidad de explorar y de probar nuevas cosas que no hayan probado antes, como por ejemplo hacer actividades donde uno esté involucrado, como visitas de campo o asistencia a talleres o hablar con personas en la industria o incluso hacer pasantías. De STEM. Estas estrategias pueden ser muy eficientes para poder involucrar a más personas en esta industria y creo que la exposición es lo más importante y un concepto erróneo porque coloca STEM en otra perspectiva. Así como yo descubrí mi interés en mi carrera y creo que por la influencia que tuve es uno de los motivos por los cuales he seguido a estar participando de forma activa, porque comparto mi experiencia, mi historia de vida que puede inspirar a otras chicas para que sigan una carrera en STEM. Muchas gracias. Bueno, eso es muy inspirador. Creo que muchas personas ya han sido inspiradas por ti. Y hablaste de la educación y cómo la educación es tan importante. Como se sabe, el conocimiento es poder y gran parte de mi conocimiento del mundo lo obtuve a través de ser una guía scout, a través de viajar y conocer a otros líderes en el mundo. De hecho, al viajar por distintos países he podido colaborar con otras personas y es una experiencia tan interesante. Y cuando nos damos cuenta de que podemos, en distintas partes del mundo hay distintos retos, pero compartimos el mismo objetivo. Y hablando entonces de guías Scout, me complace decir que Zara y Subista
Girl Guides. So, Zara, can you tell us how has girl guiding helped you in your career?
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. How did Girl Guide, or how does it help me in my career? A lot. If I just say it in a nutshell, and I would be very proud to say that I strongly believe being a scientist and a Girl Guide scientist is totally different, because I don't think I would have survived the academic journey and let alone the career I'm going through if I was not a Girl Guide. So I've been a Girl Guide since the age of 3, and I maybe my mom even carried me to a campsite when I was just 3 months old. So I'm really thankful that there are those people who enrolled me when I didn't even know what did I get into, because through the Girl Guides, it really instilled a lot of skills that I later needed in my career. So, for instance, communication skills, we do a lot of advocacy through different activities in Girl Guiding. But then the more you are comfortable in such setting, the more it's really easy for you to interact, because as you know, in a field of research where, as we said, it was male dominated, you really need to stand out as much as you can. And then independence, that's something that really is important. We learned that through Girl Guide. When I left my country 15 years ago, that's the first time I left home. You are used to see your parents, your relatives, and now you are just thrown out in a country that is totally different to your own. So all of those things, you got it from WAGGGS, and then being adventurous. You know, not everyone will dare to go out of their comfort zone, but since we are being taught of that, as you do the camping and everything, it really make life so easy. And resilience, I think I'm going to end right there, resilience, being resilient, because in my own experience, a lot has happened, especially when I was finishing my PhD, my doctorate degree. Depression, imposter syndrome, maybe I'm not good enough. Why did I get into this? And if you're not resilient enough, then there are countless of times that you just say, I give up. Let me just go back home. But because you've been having these skills that was nurtured at a very young age, that when you start the project, you need to finish it, then definitely it really helped. And yes, WAGGGS teaches you to be really involved in volunteering. And that is why I've launched the Ikala STEM, or Women in STEM Madagascar, to give platforms that are so that you raise the profile, because, you know, there is this thinking that women are hidden. They are hidden figures. So it also really gives you this takes you decision that no, that I think I'm comfortable enough where I am. Let me know, help raise the profile of women scientists in my country, in Africa, and worldwide. Thank you, Nikki.
That's amazing. And you said you moved from your country, from Madagascar to South Africa. Well, you have one new friend in South Africa. Thank you for the amazing work that you've been doing. And Subista, can you tell us what was your experience with Girl Guiding and how it related to your career?
I do happen to have similar experiences as of Zara, because like she mentioned, I think even my mom, she carried me around to camps when I was 3 months old or something, because my family has been involved in scouting for a while. So we do have similar stories. And ironically, my first time staying out of country was in Madagascar, and which was because of WAGGGS program, YES program, if you know, Youth Exchange South to South. So that helped me a lot when I went for my professional studies in Philippines, because I've already had experience of living alone, living independently, away from my family, because of the YES program. That helped me a lot when I was living in Philippines, because I knew how to overcome the homesickness. I knew how to overcome all the kinds of difficulties and the barriers that I would face in a whole different country living alone. And in a way, Girl Scouting and Girl Guiding prepared me for that before I moved out. Also, like Zara mentioned, we do a lot of advocacy, we do a lot of communications, and I would like to talk about the imposter syndrome, because that was one thing which got me when I was training, because when I was training, when I had only 8 hours of flying hours, it was starting to get really difficult to me. Like, I was questioning, why did I choose this career? Why am I even here? I think I should not be here. Maybe this is not the right profession for me, because I cannot get things right, all sort of things. But then Girl Guiding helped me overcome it, because we have been trained, we have been prepared for all kind of situations and all kind of difficulties. And I could overcome that situation because I've been involved in Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting. And also after that, even when I was training there were like like I mentioned before, there are really few girls in aviation, and one of the reason I chose to become a pilot was to bring a change. That is what we've been taught in Girl Guiding, to be a change maker. Change starts with you. And around the world, there are only 5% of female pilots. So if I was to join, maybe the percentage will change a little bit, maybe just by a little margin, but then it will change. Maybe it's 5% right now, it will become maybe 25 or 30% in few years. So that was one of the reasons. Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting was one of the reasons that motivated me and pushed me towards the STEAM career.
Yeah, well, the topic of this is being a change maker, right? And we've got so many attendees on this call and also streaming from YouTube. So I'm sure you must have inspired many people, and let's see that percentage increase. So our panel discussion is coming to an end. So to conclude, let us hear some quick tips from our panelists. So let's see, Kashmira, if there's one tip, one quick tip you can give our audience, what would it be?
So I think, the one tip would be just be very, very aware of yourself and your environment. So I would say that, once if there is something that piques your interest, you find your passion, you want to go in that area, try to do what you can to build up, either it's an educational qualification or, a skill set that you can do, but also be very aware of the environment that you put yourself into, because the environment will shape your thinking, will shape how you will thrive in that situation. So, be aware of both aspects. And, being a change maker is hard. It is hard, but I think it can be done. Do not get discouraged. I will end by saying that, I think you just find your passion and go in that realm.
Thanks, Kashmira. That's some good advice. And can we hear from Subista?
If I say this again, I might just be repeating Kashmira, but those are the things that's important. I think even I mentioned before, if you want to fly, you should not be scared of heights, because those heights could be the barriers. And we've been learning in Girl Scouting about breaking the barriers, breaking the stereotypes, breaking the myths that has been stopping us, that has been creating difficulties in our way. So being motivated, being passionate, and knowing your why, like why you are actually doing what you are doing, is one of the easiest way to move forward in STEM career. You should never be discouraged by little things, little obstacles, but then always remember why you are doing it and for whom you are doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Zara, what's one tip from your side?
I would just say that do not hesitate to seize any opportunity that come across to you. So you really need to get out of your comfort zone. Don't just get an opportunity that you think you know so well. If you look at my quotes, I said, dare to venture the off-beaten path. So even if nobody hasn't done it, as long as you believe that you can do it or that you have enough support system, then go for it. Just as simple as that.
Thanks, Zara. Short, sweet, very valuable. And Chermaine, you can wrap it up. What's your final words of inspiration for our audience?
Yes, thank you, Nikki. So I think my message would be to really encourage everyone to really keep an open mind to learn more about STEM. I think we should not be influenced by all the myths and misconceptions that people have. So have the courage to explore the different options and opportunities in the industry, and you will never know, you may actually find an area in STEM that you truly enjoy. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chermaine. And thank you to all our panelists for joining us today, for taking time out of your jobs and sharing with us. And Yeah, thank you so much. And now we have some time for our audience to actually ask our panelists questions. So over to you, Meghana. Bye.
Thank you, Nikki, and thanks to all our lovely panelists. That was definitely a very, very inspiring session. That was a very nice discussion that came right from heart from all our panelists. And that also reminded me of a quote that Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed with the things that you did not do than by the ones that you did. So throw off the boat and sail away from the safe harbor and explore, dream, and discover. I think this is the crux of everything that our panelists today said. And sometimes I used to feel scared when I felt I wasn't good enough. But today I realize all great women and men around us did at some point feel they were not good enough, but they had the courage to go ahead and try. So on that note, I would like to call upon Argi to take over the Q&A, all the questions that have been pouring in. Over to you, Argi.
Thank you, Meghana. Wow, that was so amazing. My name is Agi again, and I'm from Kenya. And let's give a round of applause to Nikki and the amazing panelists. Put the heart emojis, the thumbs, the flowers, anything creative that you have in mind to give them, because they're very, very inspiring, and they're trailblazers in the different STEM fields that they are in. So thank you so much. Oh, awesome. I see them coming. So this is a Q&A session. Feel free to just keep the questions coming. We have some questions, and if you have a specific question to a specific panelist, you can just you can just ask, or you just put it in the chat, the Q&A, and we will ask them. So first question, and this will go out to you, Kashmira. I hope you're there. So Kashmira, we have a young woman who is asking if they can start being in STEM right now, since they didn't do any STEM activities, or they are not passionate about STEM in their younger years. Is there an age limit to start pursuing STEM? Maybe you can answer that.
Sure, I would say that absolutely not. It's never too late. There are so many opportunities that are now available that I do not think that, you should think that age is any kind of a barrier to pursuing it. So there are opportunities, and absolutely they should explore doing that, in their area of passion. Absolutely, age is not a limit. The other thing I will say is, even when everybody ages, not everyone grows. You should have a growth mindset and try to make sure that you are growing in the area that you want to go into.
Thank you. That was so profound. The growth mindset is quite important, and always being curious. Another question, and this will go to Subista, and it's about, you talked about you being the only girl in your class, your piloting class. So what do you think is the importance of diversity and inclusion in STEM, or the STEM careers or STEM subjects?
Diversity and inclusion are absolutely necessary in STEM, not just because there are less women in STEM, but then there are less colored women in STEM. That's a whole another thing. There are already less women in STEM, but then there are even more less colored or racial women involvement in STEAM. So diversity and inclusion is absolutely important. So maybe we can start out young, like we can roll out our STEAM activity pack in schools. Girls and young women, they might be inspired and they might make up their mind to join STEAM in the future. Or maybe even the schools, they can provide some, when they teach the subject science and maths, maybe they can involve some fun activities instead of the theoretical method, instead of just cramming the knowledge. Maybe they should go through a different approach so that young children would grow to love STEM subjects and grow to have more interest in STEM subjects. So especially in regions such as maybe South Asia, even in African regions, where even education is difficult to receive in a lot of rural areas, even a lot of provincial areas. Maybe we can inspire the children. Maybe some of them will be inspired to move forward, and with the help of Girl Guiding, Girl Scouting, or the government, maybe we can provide them those kinds of opportunities where they can grow and explore explore STEM sectors, and they can then we can have a lot of diversity in our STEM professions.
Thank you so much for even highlighting the different disparities that are also there, deeper disparities that are there, especially in STEM. Zara, this one is for you. So you talked about Ikala. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Women in STEM, that is started in in Madagascar. Sorry. So how are you dealing to, or what are you doing, or what is even the organization you started doing that is helping break the cultural barriers to STEM so that more and more girls can thrive in that space? So what is Ikala for Women doing to break down those cultural barriers that girls are facing?
Yeah, thank you. Ikala, by the way, that's a Malagasy name, so my mother tongue, and it means woman. So that's why it's Ikala STEM, women in STEM. And one of the reasons why I founded it, since I'm not based in South Africa, I strongly believe that not being in my home country, it shouldn't be seen as an obstacle to give back. So this is why I am still driving the whole thing from Madagascar. And I also believe that there are so many women in STEM like me abroad, but would like to contribute. So this is really one of our specificity, that we are mainly women in science that are living abroad, giving back in Madagascar. And we are running lots of activities, from mentoring programs where some of us who are doing postdoc or already researcher, mentors the first year and second year student, but you also go to primary schools. That's when we really start to nurture their dream that you too can become an astronomer and an engineer. Because if you don't go to them, then they will only get familiar to what is in their community. And we run as well seed grants funding that we get donation from our own members. We do annual workshops to build the skills of the women, and we also have talk series so that we can profile, highlight women in STEM to give them platform to share. And maybe at least we've run 40 activities since we've launched the movement since 2016, and we count around 500 members across 25 countries at the moment. A lot has been done already, but to break the glass ceiling, we still really need to amplify and multiply our goals. And I hope at some point we can collaborate some more with WAGGGS, know that we have the same goal and the same target that we want to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zara. That's really, really inspiring, and giving back to the society after to just empower those girls is really amazing. Chermaine, we have a question for you, and this will be a two-parter. So number one, we're talking about you talked about how you had the stereotypes that being in a STEM career is boring, right? And here there's a young girl who has asked, how can we help other girls take further decisions, especially at high school level, to pursue STEM subjects that can lead to STEM careers? That's the first part of the question. And then after you answer, you'll do the second part. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Agi. Yeah, I think how can we encourage the girls is to really, I think, share experience with them. I think the best way is to really help them to actually really understand what STEM is all about. Yeah, because I think having a clearer picture of what
STEMs actually entails, I think it really gives you a better idea of whether this is something that you would like to pursue in the future, even like as a study or even as a career. Yep, I think in STEM there are really many different opportunities, different tracks, different routes that you can actually explore. So I think it would be really good for the educators, for the parents, or even the family to really give the support to these young girls to actually go out there to explore, like what I have mentioned earlier, and to really find to actually try to find something that will really best suit their interests. Yeah.
Thank you, Chermaine. And you've alluded to our second question. There was a question here: how can we make teachers, parents more supportive to enable girls and also everyone to just pursue their different interests in STEM? Is there a way we can help that? We can help these young girls and also all the other girls in the world, that their parents and their teachers can be more supportive towards their pursuing of STEM careers or STEM subjects?
Yeah, I think what we can do for the parents and the parents and the teachers to be more supportive of the girls. Yep. Yeah. I think for that, in terms of the educators, I think what they can do is really to actually try to come up with like curriculums that are revolved around STEM, and also to really get these girls to be more engaged in these STEM related activities. Yeah, because I think in schools, I'm not sure in the schools across the world, I'm not sure how focused STEM education is. Yeah, but I think personally for me, I feel that in school, the focus is just really about the theoretical concepts. It's not so much on like what STEM can actually help the society, or what are the benefits STEM can actually bring us in that sense. Yep. And I think in terms of parents, I feel that for parents, it is very important that they should actually try to actively help to correct any misconceptions, and also not to impose any like myths or misconceptions on their children as well. Yep, I think it's really I think they should really try to support and to try their best to help their children in whatever way that they in the way that they can to help them to pursue the study or career in STEM if they wish to. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chermaine. That was amazing and well put. Yeah. We come into the last rounds of questions. I can see so many questions. Thank you, participants. We'll now have a question for Subista. And Subista, can you maybe highlight, because you talked about the WAGGGS program and the YES program that helped you even pursue your own leadership journey, especially in the career that you are in. So other than that, are there any other WAGGGS programs that are contributing to STEM, number one, and how are they being known? Are they being known by everyone, or is it for a select few for different regions? Or if you have any insights into that, you can maybe share with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I got this question because I fortunately got to be part of a few of WAGGGS programs. So one of them is being the YES program, in which we go from South Asian countries and the countries in Africa. We go and volunteer to different countries. So where, because we are traveling, we're moving to a different place, we get to learn to become independent. We develop communication skills. We develop to become visible and comfortable with people around us. So there are other programs that WAGGGS offers. A lot of wide range of programs, like we have our STEAM Consolation Activity Pack, which is mainly focused on STEAM to motivate the young girls and women pursue STEAM careers. Except for those, we have Helen's Store Seminar, which I fortunately got to be part of, where we talk a lot about sustainability and leadership, where we discuss how to achieve a good leadership. Leadership is a very useful skill set in all the careers, and especially in STEM careers. Sometimes when you might be the only girl in the room, you might have to take the charge sometimes. So in such cases, the skills and knowledges that you gain from those programs come in very handy. Also, there are other programs which actually support us to prepare us mentally for the careers, not only STEAM careers, but a lot of other careers. So WAGGGS, they do provide wide ranges of programs, such as the Helen Storer Seminar I talked about, Juliet Low Seminar, then we have YES program, we have our STEAM, then talking about the STEAM, we have Search Smart, where we learn about internet safety. So there are wide ranges of program and initiatives. We have our food nutrition program as well, which deals with the food scientists. I think they know it better about the program rather than I. So maybe RG, you know it better. So there are wide ranges of program that WAGGGS provide, which not directly focuses on STEM, like the STEAM Consolation Activity Pack, yet are very helpful for people with STEAM career, people who are choosing to go towards STEAM careers. So like I mentioned, and also Zara mentioned, how Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting has helped us throughout our careers to reach at this point. So yeah, I would say yes, there are other options, other programs that WAGGGS provide, but then STEAM Consolation Activity Pack is the one that solely focuses on STEAM, and others, I would say, are supporting factors, supporting programs.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was really quite insightful. And all these programs, you can actually get them on the WAGGGS website, and they're all highlighted there, www.waggs.org. The last two questions now, and one is for you, Zara. So this is particular, especially in developing countries, that's the context. So in developing countries, many STEM-related activities or trainings are very costly. How can we overcome this issue? Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe I will first start by saying, when there is a will, there is a way. And then always think big, but start small. What I mean is, really start with what you have in hands, because it's really about online materials that you can start with. So that's something that you should first think about when you want to reach out to your target audience. Then if you really need to use some products like what has been cited in the questions, then that's when you really need to learn networking and communication skills, because through partnership and through donation, you can then easily get those. But again, it's only when you really show that you're doing this out of passion, not just because that's the trend, women in STEM. It will always cut you back. But the more you show that I'm devoted, I'm doing all of this, at some point, it's people who are going to approach you that we want to work with you. What do you need? We need chemicals for our outreach. So you see, it takes a lot of time to reach to that milestone where you really know partners with big names. But when you don't reach that yet, don't make yourself into trouble to always take out from your pocket. Just start with what you have right now, and it will really swiftly go there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Zara. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step, yeah? So begin with what you have. And finally, this question is for Kashmira. So Kashmira, someone wants to know, what STEM careers do J&J offer, Johnson & Johnson offer?
Absolutely. So, I think we have careers in many of these STEM areas. And, you'll see that when as industry, as a company, we operate, there is science involved, there is technology involved, there is all this engineering related activities that happen. And then, math becomes such a significant portion of what we do, in terms of some of the finance side of things and things like that. So I think it's a very, very broad arena of STEM careers that are possible. We also have, some of these volunteer opportunities, some of these internship opportunities for students. And so I would encourage people to go on our website, look at things. And I'm sure that through our partnership with, with the Girl Guides and Girl Scouts Association, we can share some of that information in terms of some of these early opportunities to get exposure that might be available.
Thank you so much, Kashmira. That was well put and precise. So thank you. We've come to the end of our Q&A. I know there are so many questions, but it has all been wrapped up. And I feel that, you have all felt inspired and you are now starting with what you have and also getting into the same space with a growth mindset. So over to you, Meghana, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Argi, and thank you so much to all our panelists. And it has been a wonderful session. There have been so many questions that have been coming in, but that brings us to the end of today's STEM webinar. I really hope you've all enjoyed it. I'd like to thank everyone who made this webinar a success. First, shout out to Johnson & Johnson, and then to all the members of the data team, planning team, tech team, and this event, the active participation of each and every one of you. So thank you so much. Before we end, please scan the QR code on the screen and fill out the post-event evaluation form. Your feedback is really important and valuable to us. Kindly take a moment to reflect and let us know what you think about it. You will receive a certificate of participation upon submitting the form, and also the certificate will be available 1 week later. So kindly save the download link. And if you are interested to hear some more, do remember to join us for the second webinar happening on 12th March. That is a month from now. You may register through the link that is shown on the screen. So everything that you need is on the screen. Please make sure you take a snapshot of it to save it. And on that note, I'd like to once again thank all of you for joining us. Happy weekend and happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Thank you so much for joining us. Signing off is your host for this evening. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. See you and enjoy the rest of your day.